I wanted to test the soil and see how it worked for making adobes, and it's beautiful, which is very typical of New Mexico soil, is that it's pretty good just as it is. When I was first learning about earth and building, the first thing that seemed important to me was to try to determine whether or not the soil that was on my site was going to be appropriate. It's a good idea to test your soil. It's very simple. Put some of that, maybe just crush it up a little bit so that it's pretty loose. What you want is sort of a mixture of sand and clay. Let's take some water. You just want to add enough water so that the jar is pretty full. And then you give it a good shake, make sure it's all mixed, and then you drink it. Then you have to let it sit overnight. But we'll probably see, we will definitely see some sedimentation just during the time that we're here today. So the clay is what makes it hold together. But if it's got too much clay, and you may find that there's only a little bit of sand and pebbles on the bottom and a lot of clay, then the adobe will crack. Obviously this made a pretty good adobe. It holds together and feeling it. Now this is holding together pretty well, and I'll pass it around. And that's, this, if this fell apart when you squeezed it, completely fell apart, and it's still got a little dryness, then you would know that it didn't have enough clay in it. If it's really sticky and sticks to your hands, then it's got too much clay. Another test with your adobe is the drop test. And I don't know, we'll see how this goes, but you hold it at about knee height and you drop it on the corner.
Oh, yes.
And if it breaks, it's no good. But this is a good one. When you buy adobes at the yard, you can either get a semi-stabilized, which is 6% of asphalt emulsion is added to the earth, or you can get fully stabilized, where 10% asphalt emulsion is added. But, I find that it's completely unnecessary. Another great thing about earth is that it's so easy to redo. It's not like concrete that sets up and then you have to break it apart. There are different schools of thought about why straw. Some people feel that it helps them to dry evenly. Other people say that it gives them that sort of a bit of tensile strength. It sort of holds them together, bonds everything.
Fiber.
Some people make adobes without straw, and they seem to be fine. They're pretty with straw. So for me, it's an aesthetic thing, and it's been done for centuries. So I choose to keep doing it. And there are a few buildings in Santa Fe still remaining that have earth and plaster on them. And when you walk around Santa Fe and you come on one of those buildings, there's a tremendous pleasure in seeing that. The building just has such an organic feel. You can see it, you can almost sense and see it breathing. At the bottom here, can you see that?
Yeah.
That's sand and particulates. And then above that is more clay.
So you want that reversed for it to move.
You're going to need to add some sand to this.
So you would
probably
have to have that much sand, probably the other way around.
Exactly. Everyone should try everything. Another job is a handful of this. You're definitely going to need to screen the material for plastic. You can do this. There you go.
How much? So with the piles out.
So then you make kind of a well in the middle.
John?
Yeah. Now this can also be done in a wheelbarrow or a cement mixer. No, well.
It's brownie mix.
Brownie mix.
You
Yeah,
want it
ready
to
to go
be,
now.
you want it to be stiff enough so when you put it in the form, you can pull off the form right away.
So it's pretty stiff, actually.
Pretty stiff. And also, the stiffer it is, the less likely it is to crack.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but the harder it is to mix. So it's sort of a
Just leave it here and move
It's a
sort of a
double
trade-off. Yeah. So this is an Adobe form which I made. Doesn't have to be this fancy, but this will make 4 bricks. And I made the handles here because it's sort of, if they're out here, it's sort of hard to pick it up. So what you want to do is just wet the inside of the form down, and that helps the helps it to come off the mud.
Now, what is the size of the brick? The form?
Traditional New Mexico brick is 4 inches thick, 10 inches wide, and 14 inches long.
4, 10, 14.
4, 10, 14, yeah. But so you don't want any, you don't want any big clumps of dry dirt. A little bit, a few spots here and there really doesn't matter. It'll get wet. So then, I can tell this is pretty high in clay because it's fairly sticky.
You can pour that whole load in there. Yeah.
We'd probably add a little sand to it just to make it easier. So then, this is the fun part. Just kind of push it in there. Did anyone else bring rubber gloves? So what you want to do, you want to make sure that it's pressed into the corners. So you just kind of push it into the corners with your hands, and then you just, with your hand or a trowel if you want, just kind of even it off and get it more or less flat on the top. Doesn't have to be perfect.
I love all of these hands in the clay. It's really, really nice. Look at that. Nice.
That's good. Those are beautiful, as a matter of fact.
Those are
Okay, now,
this is the hard part.
well, it's not that hard. You just have to kind of,
Oh, you don't have to wait till
Slowly.
Oh, of course you would.
No, you can't.
Right, okay.
okay, this is pretty sticky stuff, I can tell. See, it's-
You're gonna use the trowel to cut it or something like that?
No, they should come out. We'll see. See how it works.
Yeah, I would think.
There we go.
Okay.
There. Okay. These are fine. So every time you do this, you have to wet the form down and clean off any loose stuff.
It's nice to have all of these hands in the clay. It's really wonderful, actually.
A little more? Okay. Good.
Looks pretty good, no?
I'm gonna give it a little jerk, to.
Yeah.
That's it.
Does somebody want to
Here
go?
you go. Hold on. Let me catch up. Beautiful.
Libby, where'd you get the sand?
Those are nice.
What are you doing here, Michael?
Well, we're just, we realized that this was more effective than trying to shovel it all. This mixes it all up.
It's a Greek
I love it. I love it.
Can you pull your skate up just a little bit? All right.
Nice. Here he's got it. There it comes. Beautiful. Nicely done.
Woo! All right. So let's wet it.
Wash it down.